Alright guys, before we get into the video, I want to tell you guys to join the crusade today. Get awesome perks and rewards. Get access to discounts on the website. Don't forget to check out our website down below as well. Get access to awesome products and sometimes some only members-only products. But if you guys want to support the channel, check out that website. Get some awesome gear, awesome merch. It goes a long way. Huge shout out again, and let's get into the video. What is good, guys? Charles from Team COG coming at you guys here with my one of the feature matches from this locals that I got second place at with Infernobles. So yeah, boy still has COVID. Hopefully this Saturday though I am free, so everything will go back to normal. But you know, it took me long enough to catch it. Finally got it. But as you guys can see here on the Cyber Dragon mat, I guess you'll never guess who's playing Cyber Dragons. And over here on the Crusadia Echomax playmat, which you guys can find down in the link down in the description down below, is your boy here. And conveniently enough, upon losing the dice roll, as I did, he tells me that I can go first. So I was like, wait a minute, what? All right, I'm just gonna go for it, you know, take what you can. But we're just waiting for the time to start now, which of course we're just sitting here and conversating. He's a super nice guy, really pleasant guy to be around and play against. Just pretty awesome all together. But we are starting off here, and I ended up special summoning Red Layer, like the best starter, like Cyber Dragon-esque card like Warriors have, if you ask me. Then I special summon Renaud. Not going to be able to get the full value out of a Renaud, just simply because there was nothing in the graveyard. But I'm going to go ahead and make Isolde, and I'm going to activate Isolde's effect to search. And he's waiting. He has a response. I'm just explaining to him what Isolde does. And he decides to Ash here, and believe it or not, one of this deck's biggest weaknesses, or I'd say this deck's biggest like strong points, is people hand trap this deck incorrectly. And right here, as you can see, he hand trapped me incorrectly. He should have waited for Hulk, but Isolde is such a powerful card. It practically baits all types of hand traps. But also just like the versatility and the flexibility this deck has is even if they don't hit the Isolde, before you even go into Hulk, you can just like take a look at their hand with Aqua Dolphin, which is just crazy. And you have immediate access to Aqua Dolphin via Isolde. But Hulk going to summon out Despot 001, going into that big silly plane that we love, the Auroradon. I can no longer link summon for the rest of the turn, which is not a problem because now this is where the deck kind of drives into that synchro lane. Which I really like. There's so many different routes you can do here. This right here, like, if you ask me, the way that this deck is able to combo and still play with, like, breaking and hand traps, it's Auroradon getting access to the tokens, which allow you to practically use either the Despot or either your fire extenders in your hand to be able to synchro and combo off. That is what's super important. But you reveal 3 to your opponent. And I make a huge mistake here. I totally, this is huge. Well, it's not really that big because this standpoint here, it doesn't matter what I get because I'll get what I want. But I totally thought that power tool your opponent chose, but there's a word that's in there that says random. So he should not have gotten the ability to choose the DDR. It should have been at random, in which case both is either or would have been what I would have wanted. So it does not matter there in the long run. Just a misplay on my part for not reading the power tool all the way. But we're going to go ahead and go into Coltwing. Coltwing is going to bring out 2 tokens. Despot 001 is going to come back. And then this is where we just go on. We go ahead and make Balmug. Balmug just comes on down. Then we're just going to go ahead and use the Living Fossil. I believe that I hard opened. Yep, there it is. To bring back Gimba. Then we're going to use the token in Gimba to make Roland. Vanguard. Captain Roland, excuse me. I always want to call him Vanguard. That's his OCG name. And then we just go ahead and he's just asking for the effects. I declare the effect to Roland, go into Emperor Charles. Then I just go ahead and use Roland's effect to equip to the Balmug, and then use Charles' effect to pop Balmug. Just explaining here what Charles does. He is such a busted card, guys. There is like no debate on like how busted he really is. But we're gonna go ahead and go here and summon back the Coltwing, summon back out the tokens. There we are. Then that Despot and the token is going to make Herald, which is going to be very good, especially as I activate Heritage of the Chalice. And then Herald is going to be very good in this matchup, especially with the fear of forbidden droplets coming down. It just protects me from that. But we're going to banish 2 warriors, add back the Phoenix Blade. Then I'm going to go ahead and pitch Phoenix Blade for the Oliveira, and Synchro Oliver and the level 3 token into Quandax. Quandax, and then the Auroradon become Savage. And then I kind of skip a step here, but like luckily enough, the guy is nice enough to let me take it back. I just missed the opportunity to activate the Savage. And I can't remember if Savage is mandatory or not. I think it's optional to equipped. I'm not too sure. But anyway, I catch it at the very end, and he's nice enough to let me take it back because he too did not catch it. So as you see, as I'm explaining all my equips, I'm like, oh no, I'm missing an equip down here. But I'm going here. Explain it, and he was nice enough to let me do it because he's like, I didn't even catch it, so you're fine. No, like this is, even though this is locals, misplays happen, and this was like such a subtle misplay. We were also like, kind of like, my combos take a long time, so I was playing through as I was doing them, that I try not to take forever doing my combos. I try not to milk the clock and try to get through them as quickly as possible, like efficiently and quickly as possible. But this was just one of those places where just escaped my mind, and he was pretty cool with it, taking it back. So I'm just reading to him Herald, and this is kind of rough for him as a Cyber Dragon player. He happens to, I think, have multiple Galaxy Soldiers in his hand, and as long as Herald's on the field, anything he discards off a soldier is banished, and he cannot have that happen. So this is where, like, this soft block kind of comes up pretty well. Charles is not able to be destroyed by card effects. He cannot be targeted because of Oliver, and Metal Silver Armor says that my opponent can only target him with monster spell or trap effects. It is crazy what a soft lock this kind of has. And then immediately, as soon as I kind of realized what he's playing, I realized I'm like really a no threat, because the worst thing he can make is an Infinity, and Infinity cannot target any of my cards. So like I have legitimately nothing to fear. But again, the guy's just asking, reassuring what everything does, which is not a problem. Make sure you know everything in remote duels, guys. Like, the remote duels are so much fun, and you get to play from the comfort of your home, but make sure you know everything, and just always ask questions. If you don't know, look up the cards if you really are unsure. It's just that easy. But he's contemplating what he has to do, because this is kind of a hard board to crack. We have a soft lock that's like nothing can be targeted, except nothing can be targeted, period. Charles is a quick effect pop, and then we also have the Omni Negate with Savage, and then the Omni Negate with Herald, along with its Macrocosmos-like effect. So he's going to go ahead and Jizukiru. And here I thought he was going for the King, my man, but he ends up going for Herald, which is rough, but I'm perfectly okay with that. But I was questioning, like, why would he go after Herald and not the King Charles? Like, Charles is definitely the most problematic card on the board at the moment. And then he just, he starts to discard off of Herald, or off of the Galaxy Soldier, which reveals to me that Herald was the biggest threat to him currently, because that Hertz would be banished. That Hertz is going to grab him as normal Cyber Dragon from the deck, which he will be able to use. They're definitely, in this standpoint here, every time I play against this deck, I play against my man Caleb at locals. Most of you guys might know him from Duelist of the Rogue. He plays World Chalice as well, but every time he plays this deck, I always like negate the wrong things, and he goes Power Load, and then just thrashes me. So I'd had that fear of Power Load Optimum being able to thrash me, but again, I don't know if Power Load would have been able to be enough because of my recursion for the next turn. Like, this is something else the deck has. Like, I was able to put up that entire board and still have the 3 cards in hand, and then I draw 2. So, like, the recursion of this deck is crazy. It's just remarkable. But as he goes to make this Nova, I decide to make my move, and I use Roland's effect in the graveyard, I believe. I think I do. So yes, so I decided using Roland's effect in the graveyard to equip to Charles, and then Charles will pop the Nova, which would trigger the Nova, but I want to negate that with the Savage, stopping the entire option of an Infinity coming down. Which kind of is, I don't know, like, hindsight, you don't really, like, it seemed like a good play then, but as you guys will see here, he is going to have this follow-up, which is going to kind of bite me in the butt, I believe. He's still kind of playing what he's trying to do. I mean, there's really not too much he could do in this sense. And I'm sorry, guys, if there's like a long pause of silence. It's me trying not to cough into the mic and or taking a sip of water, just because like I'm still pretty congested from this this virus. But this, as you guys know, this virus ain't gonna stop me. So he's checking his graveyard. Like I said, at this point, I kind of think I have him by the bag. I was like, what could he do? what else could he? He has 2 cards in hand. I know one's a Cyber Dragon. He could kind of Chimera Fleet or Mega Fleet my entire my Auroradon, or he could like Mega Fleet. No, Mega Fleet's the one that sucks from the extra deck. Chimera Fleet or Chimera Tech or whatever that one is sucks up machine. So he could like solve 2 of my monsters here, but like Savage and Charles is still just gonna hold line. It's gonna be pretty hard to push through that, but I really don't know what he's trying to do. But he goes in and special summons that Cyber Dragon, so I'm still not even worried. Until he kind of does this, and we'll see. You guys will see here. This kind of, no matter what, this always sends the shiver down my spine. It worries me, causes my anxiety to rise up, and my cholesterol also rises up. So once he gets around to it, you guys will notice, and you guys will know exactly what I'm talking about. So he normal summons Nashter, and this is not it. So he doesn't use Nashter's effect. I don't even know if Nashter gets an effect unless it's special summon. But he attempts to make Almirage, but then he decides to go for Link Rebo, which is totally, which is fine. So the Almirage and the Link Rebo become Verte. So this right here sends my cholesterol sending up through the roof, because he's not going to send no Cyberload Fusion. He's not going to send anything. He's going to send Red Eyes Fusion and bring up Dragoon, and this right here makes me so mad. But then I realized that I'm not that bad off, because Charles is bigger than Dragoons, and Charles cannot be destroyed by Dragoons because of Ogier. So Charles is holding down the fort. I might lose the rest of my board, and to me, this is what the most unfair effect of Dragoon is he's going to use Dragoon to destroy the Savage. I take damage equal to Savage's original attack, so I'm taking 3,000, which is absurd. Like, don't even get me started on why that shouldn't be allowed. It should be half, but who am I? And then he's going to destroy his Jizukiru, which I'll take 33, so I take 63 here, and I was at full life. Like, that is absurd that a card like Dragoons can do something like that. And even though, like, I'm still not even going to take it back, guys. Even though I'm still in the winning situation or a winning seat because of Charles, it is still such bullcrap that a card like Dragoon can exist and do these things. But I guess it is what it is. It's partially my fault. Maybe I should have known to fear the Dragoons. But in his defense, or in my defense, he had an answer to one of my negates, which could have been used for the Verte effect. So it was just well played by him. He's going to pop. I take 63. He's then going to attack into the Auroradon, but this Dragoons is not really much of anything. As you guys can tell, he does not have any cards in hand, so he can only become bigger if he negates. And conveniently, he can't negate unless he has a discard. So I am sitting very well, but this right here is going to be... It's still, as most people know, you always hate to put up an almost indestructible board or to lose to just a simple Dragoons. It's just, it's the worst feeling ever, just because a card like Dragoons should not exist. There are cards on the ban list that are equal or worse or less than as good as Dragoons is. But anyway, in phase, I will go ahead and I declare Charles, which I shouldn't have done. Well, it doesn't really matter, but I just go ahead and grab the Living Fossil, I believe, and equipped. And I attempt to I thought I was going to get the pop, but I already used it, so I banish. Summon Gearfried. Gearfried is a good out to Dragoons, but I'm going to actually showcase one of the extra deck cards in my deck that I was able to use, and I do this to kind of flex on the Dragoons in a way, but also to ensure that I get enough damage. But I special summon Renaud. Renaud is going to add me back. I'm looking at my banished Gimba, and the reason I do that is because I want that normal summon. But I'm going to go ahead and banish Isolde and Balmug to add back the Phoenix Blade. I then use DDR, pitching Phoenix Blade to bring back Isolde. And in theory here, I could have used Charles's effect to pop the Verte, but I didn't. But then I have Isolde, normal summon Gimba. I don't even use Isolde's effect, and then I make the Goddess of the Underworld using the Dragoons as a material, because there's, 4 effect monsters. And now, so now we're sitting pretty good. This right here, I go ahead and attack just over. I don't even decide to steal with Gear Freed. I attack over, swing for 35, and swing for 3,000, and that is enough for game, and we jump into the next game. So that was game 1, guys. This game 2, he was like, man, I don't know if I should let you go first or go second. And, you know, I actually decided to go first because you always stick to the game plan, guys. Always stick to the game plan. And if once you try to differentiate from that, you just kind of can lose pretty good. So I summon Aqua Dolphin. I use Aqua Dolphin's effect because I want to look at that hand and see what he has. And lo and behold, there is a Kaiju. So no matter what I make, I assume that he learned that Charles is too good to leave on the board, so I have to get rid of that Kaiju. So right immediately on this normal summon, I know that I have to hand loop him for at least 2 or 3 more cards in order to try and get rid of that Kaiju. Sadly, nothing I can make can be bigger than 33, so I'm gonna have to resort to using Omega to try and rip it. And I noticed that at the very beginning of the combo, that's what I'm going to have to do. But using Rhoda to grab Fire Flint Lady is going to special summon himself out and then link on into Isolde. I know what his hand is, so I have the freedom to play with how I need. I just got to remember that to shift my plays from making Savage to making the Omega instead. So then I can potentially rip 1 more or maybe 2 more cards and hopefully hit that Kaiju. But also there's another card in his hand that I kind of like went over but didn't really think about, and that was that Harpy's Feather Duster. That card would actually blow out my Charles, and that would not be too good. That would not be good at all. However, it would force me to use the negate of the Herald that I'm able to put up as well, which is not good, because then if I don't get rid of that Kaiju, he can, you know, it's just, I gotta practically get rid of 2 cards in his hand, or at least solve 1 of them. But here we go. I just go and reveal, choose 3 of the same in this scenario. So at this point, being at random, it doesn't matter because I'm going to get the same no matter what, which is fine. We're going to use Auroradon to tribute the tokens, summon out Coltwing. Coltwing will then bring back tokens, and then Despot coming out once more. Despot going into Balmug. Huge shout out to Asian Persuasion for figuring out this combo. This is really good. Utility that Balmug gives is just amazing. But anyway, here we go. Roland and the Coltwing make Charles. Then we're just going to use Roland to target Balmug. Charles pop Balmug. Balmug summon out the Coltwing. Give me 2 more tokens. And then we're going to go ahead and get ourselves that Despot back. We'll go ahead and make the Herald, because we can still make Herald, so why wouldn't we? So right here, I special summon Renaud, add back DDR, and then I go ahead and synchro these into Quandax. Quandax and the Coltwing become Omega. So then Omega's effect, banish himself, and then I get to hit one of his cards at random from his hand. So I'm trying to snipe that Kaiju. I need to get rid of that Kaiju. I go ahead and I roll a 3. So we do that one right there. And I hope it's the Kaiju, but it's Cyber Emergency. So I missed both the Kaiju and the Harpy's Feather Duster. But I use DDR to bring back Omega. And I do it again, because I gotta get him out. I gotta try at least get that Kaiju, or try to get rid of one of the other. This man was just like, Omega's not once per turn. I was like, nope. And I do believe the first card that I got is the first card I ripped off that Cyber Emergency is lost forever in the Banished. But I end up hitting Harpy's Feather Dust here, which is no bueno, because now that means that Kaiju's going to come down. But I use Oliver's effect to equip to Charles, very similar to last time, and then in phase Roland's effect. The only thing I can really do is grab a gear, is to send the Metal Silver Armor, grab a Gear Freed, and just prepare to get Kaiju'd. And then Metal Silver Armor equips, or Charles equips the Metal Silver, then equips the Oliver, or Ogier, excuse me, from the deck. And I have Gear Freed in hand, and there you go. I've hand looped my opponent for 3, and now I have Charles and Herald. Which is pretty good. That means he has 2 cards, or yeah, he should have 2 cards in hand, if I remember right. If he starts with 5, I've hand looped, but he's going to give me that Kaiju, or excuse me, he'll have 3 cards in hand because of the draw. He's going to Kaiju the Herald again. So this is like, I'm like, oh boy, this man did not learn from the last time. We're going to not Kaiju the King, which is so crazy, because just like OG Noble Knights, Kaijus are like the king's worst enemies because you stack them with all these equips and just a simple Kaiju can just slop them up. But another good thing about, I guess, Emperor Charles and Roland is that if Kaijus do become prominent and like they are a good counter to this deck, it's just so easy to side in like that something of the Destons, I believe, and it prevents the monster from being tributed. So there is that option. Once, you know, if Kaiju start becoming a problem, but he's going to normal summon Hurt, special summon the Veer, and now we're just kind of waiting to see. He's going to go ahead and make Verte right here, and I am not going to allow this to happen again. I go ahead and use Roland's effect to equip to Charles, and Charles is going to pop that little snake and get him out of here because I am not having a Dragoons touchdown, and I refuse to lose the 2 Dragoons, even though like this deck has a pretty easy time to out the Dragoons, especially considering how the next turn would have followed up with a Gearfried Omega coming back. But he's going to special summon Cyber Dragon because he added it. And this is kind of the last card in his hand. One thing he can do is he can go Mega Fleet, or he can go to Chimera Fleet. But even then, I think Charles is too big to out. But he decides to attempt to go into what I think is Chimera Fleet. And then I'm like, oh no, that's Mega Fleet. So you have to use the Aurodon. But unless you want to use the other one, because you know this is remote duels, you can kind of be a little chill with it. You don't have to. But he chooses to suck up the Aurodon instead and leave me the Kaiju. Shortly after this, he kind of realizes there's not much he can do. The follow-up that my turn is going to have is too strong. Gearfried is going to come down. That Omega is going to come back, and I still have the Kaiju that he had gave me. So I would be able to, with the greatest of ease, pop the Mega Fleet because of Phoenix Blade in the graveyard, and that would be more than enough for game. So sadly, he's seeing the writing on the wall. I'm just showing him about what's coming back. And how that would be more than enough for damage, because right there alone is enough for damage. But thank you guys so much for watching.